Have you ever been frustrated by someone's actions and thought, how could they be so careless, rude, or thoughtless? Most of us assume people should automatically know better, but here's the uncomfortable truth. In many cases, they don't. Human behavior is shaped by countless factors: upbringing, culture, environment, education, and past experiences. People act based on what they know, what they've been taught, and the habits they've formed over years. Very rarely is harmful or frustrating behavior born out of pure malice. More often, it comes from a lack of understanding, awareness, or perspective. This isn't an excuse for bad behavior. It's a framework for understanding it. When you start seeing that most people genuinely don't know better, you stop taking their actions personally. You begin to recognize that their mistakes, frustrations, and even rudeness are reflections of their experiences and limitations, not a reflection of you. Recognizing this reality is the first step toward mental freedom. You stop expecting the world to meet your standards at all times. You start observing instead of reacting. And you discover a surprising kind of calm, because frustration often comes from expecting knowledge, awareness, or empathy that simply isn't there. Almost everything we do, think, and feel is influenced by the environment we grow up in. Family, culture, education, and social norms that all shape how we perceive the world, make decisions, and respond to challenges. From a young age, we absorb behaviors, both good and bad, without realizing it. For example, someone who grew up in a highly critical household may react defensively to even mild feedback. Another person raised in a chaotic or stressful environment might struggle with patience or impulse control. These patterns aren't conscious choices. They're habits formed over years of experience. This explains why people often don't know better. It isn't laziness, stupidity, or malice. It's a lack of alternative models or guidance. Their understanding of right and wrong, effective or ineffective, is shaped entirely by the examples and lessons they were exposed to. Understanding this changes how you see the world. Instead of expecting everyone to act perfectly or the way you would, you begin to recognize that behavior is often a reflection of circumstances, not intent. People are doing the best they know how with the knowledge they've been given. This perspective allows you to respond with patience rather than frustration, empathy rather than judgment. It doesn't mean excusing harmful actions. It means seeing their root, which gives you the choice of how to react. One of the most important distinctions to understand is the difference between ignorance and malice. Most of the time, people's frustrating or harmful actions are not driven by an intent to hurt. They're driven by what they don't know. Ignorance isn't a moral failing. It's simply a lack of awareness or knowledge. Someone might speak harshly, act selfishly, or make poor decisions not because they want to cause pain, but because they've never learned a better way. Their behavior is limited by their experiences, education, and perspective. Malice, on the other hand, is rare. Very few people deliberately act to create harm for the sake of harm. Most conflict and frustration in life comes from miscommunication, misunderstanding, or unexamined habits. Recognizing this distinction is liberating. It prevents you from overreacting or taking things personally. When you understand that most people are doing the best they can with what they know, you naturally feel less anger, resentment, and frustration. You stop wasting emotional energy on assuming the worst and instead focus on what you can control, your own reactions. This insight doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it shifts your perspective. You stop expecting perfection from others and start seeing the limits of knowledge as the real driver behind actions. Most of us react strongly to other people's behavior because we assume they should know better. When someone acts rudely, makes a mistake, or frustrates us, our first instinct is often anger or disappointment. We judge, we criticize, and we take it personally. But if you step back, it becomes clear that most reactions are based on a misunderstanding. The person isn't deliberately targeting you. They're simply operating from their level of awareness, experience, or habit. Their behavior reflects their knowledge, not their intent to harm. Judging others harshly often creates unnecessary emotional turmoil. You feel frustration, resentment, or even anxiety over actions that weren't meant to control or affect you. That's wasted energy that could be used to respond thoughtfully, set boundaries, or maintain your peace. When you realize that emotional reactions often stem from ignorance rather than malice, you gain perspective. You learn to separate their actions from your self-worth. You stop taking things personally. You observe instead of reacting. This doesn't mean you accept harmful behavior blindly. It means you respond strategically rather than emotionally. You maintain control of your own mind while still navigating the situation effectively. Once you grasp that most people simply don't know better, a shift occurs in how you experience the world. Frustration, anger, and resentment, emotions that often dominate our reactions, begin to lose their grip. You stop expecting everyone to meet your standards instantly, and that creates a sense of inner calm. This perspective doesn't mean you condone bad behavior. It means you recognize the limits of human knowledge and experience. People act based on what they've learned, what they've been taught, and the habits they've developed over time. Accepting this reality allows you to conserve energy for what truly matters: your responses, your decisions, and your own growth. By expecting less perfection from others, you stop reacting impulsively. You observe. You pause. You respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. This shift reduces unnecessary conflicts and prevents small irritations from escalating into major stress. It also strengthens relationships. When you respond with patience and understanding, people are more likely to meet you halfway. Calm, measured reactions create space for constructive dialogue rather than tension. The truth is simple. Most people don't know better, and realizing that is a gift. It frees you from taking the world personally, lowers stress, and gives you the clarity to act intentionally. Understanding that most people don't know better is only powerful if you put it into practice. The first step is pausing before reacting. When someone frustrates or upsets you, take a breath. Observe your initial emotional response without acting on it immediately. This pause creates space for clarity. Next, practice empathy and perspective taking. Ask yourself, what experiences or limitations might be influencing this person's behavior? Even a simple mental note that they may not know better changes how you perceive their actions. Set healthy boundaries. Understanding ignorance doesn't mean accepting harm. Clearly define what behavior you will tolerate and what you won't, and communicate it calmly when necessary. Boundaries protect your energy while keeping your responses measured. Reflect regularly. Journaling or mental check-ins help identify triggers, recurring frustrations, and areas where you might be expecting more from others than is reasonable. Over time, this builds patience and self-awareness. Finally, cultivate mindful responses instead of reactive ones. Respond thoughtfully, choose your words carefully, and focus on solutions rather than blame. This approach reduces unnecessary conflict and preserves your mental energy. By applying these practices consistently, you transform frustration into understanding, anger into patience, and chaos into clarity. You begin to navigate life with a sense of control and calm, even when the world around you feels unpredictable. One of the biggest costs of expecting people to know better is resentment. When we assume others should act perfectly, we build invisible pressure on them and on ourselves. That pressure often leads to frustration, anger, and stress, even when their behavior is beyond their control. Recognizing that most people don't know better allows you to release that burden. You stop taking actions personally, and you stop carrying the emotional weight of others' limitations. Resentment fades because you understand that their behavior reflects experience, not intent. This perspective also prevents cycles of conflict. When you respond with patience instead of irritation, others are less likely to react defensively. Misunderstandings are resolved more easily, and communication becomes clearer. Avoiding resentment doesn't mean ignoring bad behavior. It means choosing not to let ignorance dictate your emotional state. You preserve your mental energy for decisions you can influence, rather than wasting it on things you cannot control. The result is calmness and clarity. You navigate the world with composure, empathy, and realistic expectations. You no longer get caught in unnecessary emotional turbulence, and your relationships benefit from your steady presence. Understanding that most people don't know better is a perspective that changes everything. It frees you from frustration, anger, and unnecessary emotional turmoil. It allows you to navigate the world with clarity, patience, and calm. This perspective doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or ignoring boundaries. It means seeing the root of actions, ignorance, habits, and limitations, rather than assuming malice or intentional harm. When you respond from this understanding, you preserve your energy and make better choices. The benefits are profound. Your relationships improve because you communicate with patience and empathy. Your stress levels drop because you stop taking the world personally. Your mental clarity increases because you focus on what you can control, your own reactions, decisions, and growth. Most importantly, this mindset builds resilience. Life will always throw challenges, difficult people, and unpredictable situations your way. But when you recognize the limits of human knowledge, you respond strategically instead of reacting impulsively. You maintain your composure, your strength, and your peace. In short, most people don't know better, and realizing that is a key to emotional freedom. By observing rather than judging, pausing rather than reacting, and responding thoughtfully, you cultivate calm, strength, and a realistic understanding of the world. The world will always be imperfect, but your response to it doesn't have to be. Master this perspective, and you gain a kind of power no one can take away.